Merry Christmas. Welcome to my Wednesdays with Willa podcast show that airs on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. on my Facebook page, Willa White Medium. I am your host, Willa White, and this is an opportunity for me to share my wonderful special guests that we usually have a topic relating to either spiritualism, mediumship, healing, faith, family, or more. And I want to just say hello to Patricia Bell. She's joining us from Florida today. Hi, Patricia.
Hell, hi, Willa. Such a pleasure to be with you and to all of your listeners. It's a wonderful, wonderful time of the year.
It sure is. And we've got some wonderful holiday joy and a special topic today. I know some people are really excited about it. The Christmas Star Explained. And Patricia Bell is a wonderful resource for us here in Lilydale. She's a registered Lilydale medium. She has also done wonderful things coordinating the Children's Week for our summer program. She gets that all arranged, and we're so grateful that she's supportive of children and helping their intuitive and spiritual gifts along. And also you do a lot with the Healing Temple, especially in the off season. And in the summer, you probably will recognize Patricia's face from when the Lilydale Healing Temple goes live for the healing services. We're so grateful for her healing services that she is part of. And then also, Patricia, you're a wealth of information when it comes to astrology as well. So we're going to be calling on that today for some of the explanation of the Christmas star.
Well, thank you, Willa, for that lovely intro. Yes, I have been doing astrology for approximately 50 years now. But as a child, I would go to my mother and say, "Mommy, the stars have spoken to me." Okay, so I believe a lot of our children in our children's program have these stars speak to us because, as Carl Sagan said, we are made up of 40% stardust in our biology. So there is this wonderful physical connection with the stars and ourselves. So it's no wonder why this Christmas star is so important to everybody. I mean, we're seeing it on Yahoo and the New York Times, places that you don't generally hear about the stars, but it is becoming more prevalent. A lot of younger people are more interested in finding out about everything, all the information, and how we are connected to the whole universe. So with that said, I'd like to open up with the fact that the Romans celebrated solstice on December 25th.
Oh.
When we talk about a Christmas star, you know, we're going through a lot of different historical knowledge. And the other part about it is it takes us back in to sort of religious understanding. Zoroastrianism is a religion that existed. And most people don't know that Zoroastrian priests were also astrologers. So if you go back to look at some of their temples, there were actually like planetariums there that existed. So they made this their sacred journey. And this is who the Magi was. They were the Zoroastrian priest. Now, the other part about it is there's a lot of stars in the sky, but some of these stars are connected to locations. So when they saw this star, they knew that it had to be a star for Jerusalem. All right, because that star, that Pisces, was connected to Jerusalem at that time. Many people don't even know that Florida is considered a Pisces state. Buffalo is considered a Taurus city. You know, California is considered a Virgo state. So it's not surprising that when we look at these things, we can look at astrologically the aspects of what's happening in the sky and how it's affecting an actual government. So when these Zoroastrian priests, now it was a triple star. It was Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars.
And this one right now is only two, right?
It's two.
It's two. Okay.
But Mars is still in the play with it, but
Okay.
it's not as close as it was during the time of the Christ birth.
Mm.
And it was in Pisces. So we have Jupiter and Saturn in Pisces, which has a whole different understanding. I mean, Pisces has a lot to do about the spirituality, but most of all to the Saturn and Jupiter are considered signs of a king. So they heard that King of the Jews was being born, which went to Herod. Remember, Herod was a Roman, and he heard that these priests were coming from Persia to see the King of the Jews. Well, now King Herod obviously didn't want any competition, so he was going to make sure all those babies were killed because he knew that there was a King of the Jews being born. I mean, it's amazing how astrology was politically woven, but spiritually woven into our lives. And that having it at this particular time, to me, is a reflection of what we need to look at. Yes, that configuration, you know, we're talking about it being 2,200 years ago, BC, before when it was in Pisces and that this happened. You know, there's a lot of arguments as when the Christ child was born, but that configuration did not just happen once. It happened 3 times.
I was reading about that. The Christmas star happened, and then it also happened again in the, was it the 1200s?
Yes, but at the time of Christ, the conjunction retrograde came back.
Oh, it was twice. So the Christmas star happened twice
3 times.
for Jesus's time. Oh, got it. Okay.
So in the 1200s, there was this configuration again, but it did not happen on what we call the solstice or Christmas time as it is now. It's an interesting configuration that is going on, because it's just as though there is an energy present that is speaking to our soul and spirit in a different way. All right. So you look at it and you say, what are we really considering? What is this really about? And how is this affecting us? I mean, if there once upon a time, which there was, a religion that had astrology as their priest, and why now we are considering our connection to all that is. All right, this star is Jupiter and Saturn coming together, is in Aquarius. Now, what's the difference between Pisces and Aquarius? To me, it's Pisces igniting inside of you and me saying, hey, a reminder here, you are spiritually connected. Now we take it to this star, which is an Aquarius, and it says, all right, y'all, you know you're spiritually connected. Now let's share it. Let's not only remind you of your spiritual connection, But let's look at the Aquarian, the water bearer, who shares the water that helps everybody survive and thrive.
Mm.
So psychologically, I mean, I was amazed, Willa. I was here in Florida and I went down to the Gulf, and it was, I didn't stay because there were so many people out there. It looked like they were watching, I don't know, it was packed with their cars and their seats, all looking to have a view of the star. And the impact upon it, upon people today, it's no surprise to you as it is to me that we all have been going through a rough past year. And I think that God in the universe knew that we needed to be inspired, that we needed to come to a place where we could resolve in ourselves our own personal worthiness, our own personal understanding. I mean, how often have people been on the internet or the TV and they call it doom scrolling, you know, keeping up with the latest this, the latest that, and they haven't been given the opportunity to understand that there will be a renaissance, that there will be a time. Now, Chico Xavier, the spiritist mystic, said that if we could get through 2019 and 2020 without a war, that there would be celestial help from spirit. And that within the next decade, we will have advances in modern medicine that could give us longevity. In fact, there are scientists out there now saying because of this pandemic, and unfortunately we've lost so many beautiful people, that the research that is being done may lead us to other answers and to resolve the questions about longevity and this and how our physical body works. Because, you know, it's a wake-up call for us in a lot of good ways. One, to look at our environment. I mean, isn't that amazing? I mean, I know being sheltered in place has to be hard for you with 2 children, you know, Willa. But when you go outside and you see how well the plants and everything are thriving, it makes you so hopeful that things are going well. So that's a reminder. The other reminder is that, you know, it is a time of rejuvenation. I mean, how blessed are we to have our kids with us? I mean, I'm sure you can address that. And then, you know, sure, you may want to, because 24/7 is tough, but the bonding process that's happening. Now, for me, I'm alone. And it's like for me, a monk going into her cave, or, you know, a nun going into her nunnery, but to tap into the spirituality that really exists. And then for this wow star to show up, it's like saying, you're doing well. We're watching over you. This is a part of who you are. And this is where you, because it's an Aquarius, it's asking each and every one of us to shine our light like that star in the sky. Now, this conjunction is the beginning of a whole 200-year cycle, which, yes, which is all going to be in air signs. All right. But it's beginning in Aquarius, which is an air sign, which has to do with community, community, community. So when you look at that star, because it's going to, right now, the planets are, it came like this on the 21st. It's going to get closer, and it still will be together on Christmas.
So I have a question about that, because I had read that they are just 0.1 degrees apart, that Jupiter and Saturn, as those two planets, are just 0.1 degrees apart. And they said that it'd be the equivalent of the diameter of the moon. When
Right.
it's full. Which seems like it's really not that far apart.
No, but it's the way it's occulting one another. Okay. Now, it can occult in many different ways. Sometimes it can occult, but it's occulting like this.
Yeah.
Over one another.
Wow.
So as it gets closer, it's occulting each other. So when it comes together.
So wait, what's that word you're saying? You're saying it's culting?
Occulting.
Occulting. Okay.
Right? That it occults. It's coming together.
Got it.
Like
Okay.
that way the light shines is occulting. So this is why we have the opportunity to see this Christmas star, not just only on Monday or Tuesday or tonight, but also tomorrow and Christmas. So no one loses out. And yes, there are places that you can see it better.
Yeah.
But see, I am of the conviction, and you don't even have to see it to be with it.
That's true.
We can see it on the internet. We can, you know, and we can have it in our heart, because Aquarius has to do with community. And so it's asking us to shine our light in the community. What does that mean? Now, there was a phenomenal ceremony that happened in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
On the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And at what used to be called Ayers Rock, which is now called Uluru, out by Alice Springs. And the original people came together to do this ceremony to bring about the understanding of community and light. But you know what the wonderful thing about it was, Willa? They asked everybody who would join them not to be negative. They asked them not to doomsday scroll. They asked them not to be mad at their neighbor. They asked them to, anybody who wanted to be a part of this, to put all that negativity aside, so that this conjunction could come inside your heart and touch you in a way to elevate your spirit, so that you know who you truly are. And that's the whole thing. Even as spiritualists, we know that Andrew Jackson Davis was able to tap into Neptune and into Uranus before the astronomers even found it on a telescope. So as spiritual people, we can tap into this energy, and we can know for ourselves that we can bring a light to our community. Now, there might be somebody who says, well, I'm not part of a group. Well, even if you, yes, you are if you're part of a family. Yes, you are if you go to the grocery store. We're part of the human experience. And we have our four-legged friends, and, you know, we had the birds, we have plants. We are part of the community of Earth. And after everything that has gone through in this past year, what an incredible message from this Christmas star to say, okay, we're letting you know you're loved. God in the heavens, Spirit, has created an event to remind you how beautiful you are, to remind you of your majesty, not as a king or queen telling people what to do, but your inner authority, understanding that you can be peaceful, that you can know the stillness, that you can know the beauty, which all these things put together. I mean, we always heard that when Christmas came, it was peace on earth. But this star is saying, let's bring it home, because we have been less than peaceful in this past year. And we needed this significator to remind us that our majesty, our authority inside of ourselves says, okay, I'm going to take those breaths. I'm going to be majestic and be my own authority to be peaceful. Now, the one thing about air, and this happens to rule your breath. So this is a time when things are going on that you need to breathe. You really have to be conscious. If anybody is doing breath work, I strongly recommend it. There's a very interesting book that talks about breath by Nestor. And he talks about how actually our breathing changed our entire skull along with our eating habits. It's amazing, a good read. But our breath is going to be something very special that we need to work with during the 20 years coming with Aquarius, along with our voice. So I've been recommending to people and studying myself with Jill Peirce, the overtoning. Now, you may not get into big overtoning, but we all know those chants of and om. Is light. Om, and excuse me. Is love, and om is light. And so when we just do and om, it reminds us in our heart that we are light, we are love. And yes, are there going to be bumps in the road? Oh my gosh. A mother of two sons, you start getting them chanting, but it's very significant because now we're seeing in people that they have to do with their voice. We want to speak up, but how do we want to speak up? We want to speak up with love and with light, because the Aquarian aspect says, guess what? You are individuals, but you're all bringing something special to this universe. It's kind of like that story about stone soup.
Oh, yes. That's a favorite story in our house.
Well, good, you tell it then.
Oh, I don't think you want to. I do the long version.
Well, the short version is once upon a time there was a village, and it seems as though that things have set in which there was a sense of lack and no food and poverty. But what happened is they put out to their community that we were going to create a soup.
Well, there was a man who arrived.
Right.
He was the one that got them excited about making the stone soup. He had the stone.
He did have the stone.
And he put it in the pot.
Exactly.
And he had said, we need a little bit of this and we need a little bit of that. And people started giving.
Giving from what they had. Now, maybe this star is the man. maybe we are the pot and we are the gift to give one another.
Mhm.
You know, I get chills just thinking about it. You know, we can give so much. And I know that in Lilydale, we give to the food bank, we do this, but the smile that we give, the kindness, the gentleness, the love and the light who we are has to be significant, because this is a resonance. This is a vibratory shift.
Mhm.
This is something that people have to become aware of, because we are shifting vibrations in a new way. Some people are not going to be able to handle the new vibration, and some people are. That's why in Uluru they said some will go up and some will not. Because isn't all our emotion vibratory fields that get to send us up or down? Now, this is not to blast emotions. I mean, if we look at things like even the anger and say, oh, oopsie, I need some boundaries. I need to look at myself. I need to look at my passion. I need to go inside and say to myself, I need to use this energy differently.
Mhm.
Maybe I need to voice my opinion with light and love, so that I'm not going to get angry about people saying or doing things in my life. But it is a resonance vibration. This is why I invite everybody I know, whether they can see the star or not, to entrain with this new energy, this energy of community, this energy of breath, this energy of voice, this energy of being the light that you are, that is going to shine not just today or tomorrow, but we're talking about for 200 years.
Yeah, 200 years is a
You know,
significant
we may not be together
window.
in 200 years in this physical construction, but for the next 20 years, we know we're going to be able to use this Aquarian energy. The
Mhm.
next time that we're going to see in an alignment will be another 20 years from now, when Jupiter-Saturn conjunction happens. But it's not going to create this light in the sky.
Right.
It's not going to give us this message. You see, what happened, it's in the sign of community. The conjunctions that happened before with Jupiter and Saturn were all in earth signs. And we can see where we got our materialism.
So are you saying in Jesus's time that was earth sign,
No, it
or
was
that was water, wasn't it?
right. It was
It was
Pisces.
Pisces. So that was water, and then in the 1200s it was earth,
And
or
the configuration changes every 200 years.
okay.
So before this momentous time when we moved into the air for the next 200 years,
Okay.
like in 2000, it was in Taurus, and then it was in Taurus again, and it was in Capricorn, and then it was in Libra for a blip, and then it went back into earth signs again, because it was in that 200-year segment of earth.
Mhm. Mhm.
Has to deal with earth and
Sure.
material. But
Mhm.
now we're in the sign of air, which has to deal with spirit.
Spirit and spiritual expression. And I love that you're sharing that with us. I want to say that for those who may be just joining the show this morning, this is Wednesdays with Willa, and our topic today is the Christmas Star Explained. And I have as my guest today Patricia Bell, who is well versed in the astrological configurations that are associated with the Christmas star and the planets. And it's really kind of exciting to learn about this and the spiritual connections that are being made about it. I also want to say, I think it's great that, with the traditional Christmas star that we consider the Star of Bethlehem, that from what you're saying, that Christ consciousness was able to permeate and share its light, and it has for the 2,000 years, right?
Right.
And now with this particular Christmas star, we move into the peace within. It sounds like the peace within and the peace within community.
Within community, yes.
Yes, within the community.
Right. It's taking, in other words, if Jesus was a philosopher of love and peace. Yes. I mean, I think we all can agree with that.
I think people would probably be on board with that. Yeah.
And do you know that his symbol was always the two fishes?
Yes, the two fishes.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So now it's as though we are asked to evolve to our own spirit, that we have learned the love and the peace inside to share it to others. You know, Willa, once upon a time, back in the 1700s, in order to be a physician, a medical doctor, you had to have degrees in astronomy and astrology.
Oh.
That was during the time of Kepler. And so that is in a more modern time in the 1700s, where the Zoroastrian priests were back during the Christ time. So the theory of understanding the stars has been with us through different centuries, is where I'm coming from. And now it's being awakened in all of us for this discussion in a more conscious way to see how it's affecting us. Now, the scientists will tell you, as will I, that this occultation of Jupiter and Saturn coming together is creating internet problems, solar flares, things of this nature, that this vibration is having an effect upon us outside of ourselves as well as inside of ourselves. And that, you know, if you put electromagnetics on people, you can see how they are affected. This is why during this time, if you are being affected, I ask people to do your breathing exercises, to do sound therapy, to be able to allow yourself to have an opportunity to take yourself to higher ground, as we spiritualists would call it.
Yeah.
And how awesome. Now, here's the other fabulous part about it. As spiritualists and as mediums, we understand that spirit can communicate with us. This aspect opens up the community of spirit to come closer. Wow.
Yeah.
If we are doing the love and peace inside of ourselves, we can listen better. We can speak better. We can hear spirit from outside of us communing like in community with us. And we can say, which is part of my prayers through this time, is thank you, spirit. Thank you, earth spirits, air spirits, water spirits, you know, wind, to work with us in the best of our abilities, because we're made up of all those components. You know, our breath is wind, we've got water in our body, you know, the earth is our bones. And as far as fire, that's considered the blood racing through our body. So the elements are a part of us. And this is a reminder that they are communing with us. So by being very conscious of how all this is going on in our lives, we are able to take this to the next level in our spiritual involvement, which I am so excited about.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to be grumpy, and I want to be, able to enjoy this planet. I
Yes.
mean, being sheltered in place, I can't wait to get back out there across the planet. As you well know, I love to travel.
Patricia loves to travel, people. She loves it.
And all those, just this enjoying Mother Earth, this planet, and everything that we're given. How blessed we are to be able to be here at this point, to be able to know. And I'm going to share a story about Bailey, all right? This has happened when he was 5 years old. Bailey is my grandson, as Willa knows. And Bailey, forgive me, I know you're 26 years old now, and Grandma's still talking about you. But
how embarrassing.
yes, well, he'll understand. When Bailey was 5, Bailey came to me, and like this little old man, he said, Grandma, Santa Claus isn't a real person.
Oh.
Like I was going to be really disappointed. He said, Grandma, Santa Claus is a spirit that touches the hearts and minds of people to make them kind and generous. So, yes, Willa, as a mom, you hear these pearls of wisdom from
Oh, yes.
our sweet ones. Even Christ said, out of the words out of the mouth of babes.
Mouths of babes. That's right.
So kindness.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
So that, you're talking about the children. What about the children that are being born like this week under this Christmas star effect?
They are going to have, they're not going to have the earthly consciousness that we have, even as your sons have. The new ones that are coming are going to be in tune with a greater amount and even more of a sense of community, even more of a sense of spirit, even more of a sense of understanding. This is why, I do the children's program and I invite the parents to come with them, because these children in the program are so open and wise that they are there to teach their parents. Now, this whole new group that are being born now are coming in with a lot of wisdom that is going to help the planet, help their families assimilate, because each child that comes in brings something different. They're still going to have an earthiness. So, if you're a Taurus child, you're still going to bring in that sense of earthiness, as well as a Virgo child or a Capricorn child. But you're going to have an understanding, because right now the sun is in Capricorn. So there will still be an earthiness, but there will be a higher level of consciousness that will vibrate to a different resonance.
I think that's wonderful.
I can't wait, because as you know, I keep the children's program going.
You sure do.
So that I can learn stuff.
I have another question for you.
Yes.
So going back to the original, we'll call it the original Christmas star that Jesus was born under. Mind you, I don't know about astrology the way you do, but I have heard that it matters the location of your birth for the chart and all of that sort of thing. So having being born at that particular latitude and longitude for Jesus, and that particular significance, was the Christmas star brighter over him, like they say in the stories? Like, was it actually arcing and right over it and beaming to that
Well,
degree?
the Zoroastrian priest,
Mm-hmm.
that when they looked at it, remember, it is Saturn, Jupiter, but there
And
was
Mars.
Mars.
Yes.
So it was three of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they knew this star was going to be the birth of the King of the Jews.
Because they were trying to follow the star. So how did they know?
To Bethlehem,
Right.
which was considered a Jewish state for the Jews.
Okay.
So now I think it's very interesting. And this is a total sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody watch what's going on in the United Kingdom with the Queen, because her sun sign is 0 Taurus,
Mm-hmm.
0 Aquarius. Saturn is squaring us. So sometimes it says a king or a queen leaves for someone new.
Very interesting.
So, but the Zoroastrian priest looked at the astrocartography of it. It's like eclipses.
Okay.
You know, that certain places during an eclipse, you can see it better. Even with this star here, there are certain places that we can see it better.
Yeah. Here at Lilydale, you can't see it. It's been overcast every night. And then we've got Job Corps lights.
Yeah, well, I would go out past where the Amish used to have their stand.
Okay.
And there's a big vacant lot out there. I would go out there if there turns out to be a not so cloudy night.
Because we're supposed to look at the southwest.
Right, but if you put the app called Star Chart on your phone or Pocket Universe, they will show you the exact direction of the star, which way to look for your particular location. You see, yes, it's coming from the southwest, but if you have the app, which we all have so many apps, it gives us more of a precise understanding, and you should be able to see it. Now, are you going to see it? I mean, I have put pictures of the star that I have received from New Zealand and other places. Was it more powerful? Occultation right on top of Uluru? Absolutely. In Alice Springs, or as they used to call it, Ayers Rock, the energy. And to get us to entrain with that energy is the key. So where you are, it doesn't necessarily matter. The visibility does.
Sure.
You know, it's just like when we had the Great American Eclipse in 2017, you could see it in various places in the United States. I happened to be in South Carolina. You saw a wee bit of it in Buffalo, but in 2024, on April 9th, there will be another solar eclipse directly over Buffalo that'll come through Mexico and right through the United States, exactly over Buffalo. So it's an energetic thing that's going to happen.
Mark your calendars now, folks.
Yes, do, because that eclipse is going to be in Aries, and it's going to have a whole other message. The eclipse that happened in 2017 was in Leo. It was opening a doorway for us to understand love. Because Leo is the heart, Leo is courage. And who are we in our own loving, courageous, majestic selves? You know, Willa, I think the Christ came as all teachers to teach us how to love ourselves so that we could love others better. And, this Christmas star, the argument of whether or not it happened at the precise 25th date, as I have said to you before, that conjunction happened 3 times. Yes, those Zoroastrian priests did look at the longitude and latitude of that occultation. And could it have been seen in other places? I'm sure it could. But what is the meaning of all this? And what meaning do we want to put on this? It's just like Bailey saying Santa brings the spirit of kindness and generosity. That's a meaning he put on it.
Yes.
Some people can say it's about materialism, but this is a time where we get to look at community in a way we never looked at it before. That we get to love in a way we've never loved before. But those people who are having a hard time need to love themselves first.
Yes.
To drink from the spiritual well of this Christmas star, to fill up themselves so that as this 20 years goes on, they can progress with the vibration and the resonance of love, of community, and that they can say, well done to themselves, that they can look at their energies and know exactly who they are. I am going to name 2021 the bridge to build hope.
Mm.
And to me, this Christmas star is hope.
Yes.
Now, somebody said to me, but hope, oh, you don't do nothing for hope. And I say, I beg to differ with you. Hope is being intimate inside of yourself, going inside of yourself very deeply to know that hope is possible. And then the other active component is trust.
I was just going to say, you have to trust in God, in the divine principle in your life.
And the faith that we have. But you see, as we spread this light through 2021, building this bridge of hope by being good to the people in the community, by being good to the world, by shining this light, we have such opportunity here to create a new world that does not necessarily have to be as difficult. Now, I'm not being Pollyanna. I understand there are going to be difficulties. They're going to happen.
But it's not about what happens, it's how you react to it that dictates the event.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there is the good, the bad, and the ugly everywhere. Why? Because each person's soul has to work out their stuff. But we're given a wonderful opportunity with the vibration of the star to work out our stuff to higher ground, the higher and the best, not only as spiritualists, but as people ourselves, knowing that we get to do this, that we build our own bridge of hope, which is so inclusive of faith. And how awesome is it to have spirit being willing to work with us now more than ever.
With a clarity, with such clarity.
Mm-hmm. A lot of clarity. In fact, it's going to, this whole year coming in 2021, there's going to be aspects of greater clarity, particularly in mediumship. And I'm going to be talking about that for Lily Dale in our preseason thing.
Oh, yeah, that you have some classes coming up, don't you, for Lily Dale here in the off season too, I believe.
Yes, we're doing a preseason, January 16th. It's called Mediumship and Uranus and Taurus. And Uranus and Taurus, believe it or not, was the time that Uranus was in Taurus when the Fox sisters first heard their rappings.
Ooh.
And that's when Allan Kardec was able to start to write his books.
Allan Kardec, yes, for Spiritism, yes.
So, I mean, we're going to discuss that in the
workshop,
in the hour and a half we have together. And then on February 7th, I'm going to do a workshop on the Chinese year of the metal ox.
Some Chinese astrology.
Astrology. You know, it's funny, people have said, you know, this has been the year of the metal rat. And my one friend said, oh yeah, we're like rats. We run out and we get our food and we come home. So it's going to be a different year. But, you know, I'm excited at the fact that we have so many tools, whether it's listening to you on Wednesday mornings, to be able to get us in a place where we can be the best that we can be,
yes,
and share the best that we can be with the people we love and even people we don't know.
Yes, that's very true. I'm excited because I've planned my January classes to really help people get their spiritual strategies in place for January, for 2021. So that's why I'm doing positive affirmations, and then I'm doing meditation for you, because a lot of people really need their meditation techniques and need to get that mind focused. And this is the time to do it, folks. And then the other one is that magical journey within. So as you're talking, I'm thinking, wow, that's what I've geared up for my January classes, this journey within, this peace within a person. So really go into deep relaxation modes and how to access understanding of the body and the spirit at the same time. So it's like so cool that I planned that and I didn't know why, but now I do.
Well, you know, it's got us all in alignment.
Yes.
Even with the fact that you wanted to talk about this Christmas star.
Yes.
So that, you know, as a medium, you get these spirit whispers. We know that it comes to us, and we have the humility to say, okay, I'll listen. We have the humility to say, this is a time in my life that I'm willing to devote to be better.
Yes.
To better myself for not only my highest good, but for the vibration that I put out there.
Amen.
You know, wow. It's so significant. And, you know, Willa, I'm sure, as with all of the people that come to join us for our teaching, we are joyful to share, to help them to be who they are, so that they, you know, and I've said this 1,000 times and I'll say it again, anybody that comes and studies, I'm sure with yourself or myself, I want them to be 100 times better than me, because that means there's going to be 100 times more wonderful stuff going on in the world. And let that light shine, and, you know, share with many people, because this is the time of community. This is the time of us all working together. You know, putting aside our differences, looking at even the Christmas Carol, huh? What did Ebenezer Scrooge learn? That it was ignorance that created death along with the poverty of the soul and the spirit.
Yes.
Right?
I
So
just posted my Christmas show I did with David Wasserman about A Christmas Carol, and we looked at it from a spiritualist's perspective. And I just posted it yesterday if anybody wants to go back and watch that again, because what Patricia is saying is so true. That ignorance, we move out of that ignorance and into a deeper knowledge of our spiritual state. Perfect.
it is. It's all in divine order. We are blessed beyond words to know that we are not alone. This Christmas star says, you are loved. You are part of a greater community. Your willingness to accept this, to love yourself and others, is going to bring you everything you've ever hoped and dreamed of. Because in astrology, Aquarius rules the 11th house of wishes, hopes, and dreams.
Ooh,
Yes,
that's amazing.
it
So
is.
we have to speak it into being with our positive affirmations and with our positive energy. And that matters. That matters with every step we take. And I love that it's such a great manifesting time for people, especially when they haven't felt like they have been able to manifest anything. So it gets people out of the spinning the tires mode and into a much more beautiful, blessed mindset.
And it's an empowerment thing because it's your voice, your spirit, your tone. It's inside you.
Yes.
And you don't have to wait for anybody outside to give it to you.
Yes, which is such an important aspect of what we believe as spiritualists, that we're creating our own reality.
Absolutely. And wellness is a part of it. Well-being, wellness. In fact, the children's program next year is all going to be on wellness.
Ooh, little spoiler alert for everybody, for the kids.
So they'll have classes so that don't be surprised our little healers come home and say, well, mom and dad, here we go. It's going to be really fun.
They'll be all powered up.
We already are, teaching us left and right.
Sure.
And that in itself, what a gift.
What a gift. Well, this has been a gift. We really appreciate you coming today and talking about the Christmas star and explaining that so beautifully. And I feel that the blessed words, the resonance of the words you've spoken really will help people to have hope and to trust in their divine journey. So I can't thank you enough for being here today.
My pleasure. And big hugs and big love to everyone. And I've enjoyed being with you, Willa. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So everyone check out Patricia's classes. You can look at those on the Lilydale Assembly website and register for those. You can check out my website, willawhite.com, for my classes. And my next show will be in January. I won't be around for next week, but I'll try to give you some replay shows to enjoy. Have a wonderful, happy Christmas, everyone. And we'll see you in the new year. God bless. Bye-bye.